Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is Dr. Brandy B. Come on in and let me know that you are here. I just got into a coughing fit about 3 minutes ago out of nowhere. So we're going to make it quick, but we're going to do it. Come on in, grab a friend and come on in. It is Dr. Brandy B. And when you get here, let me know if you can hear me. I'm in my husband's car today, and so I hope that the volume is such that you can hear it. But come on in. I know it's Veterans Day. Thank you to all the veterans who do and have done what you do. We certainly appreciate you. Come on in. Auntie Julia is here. Miss Mary Hinkle is here. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for joining. About 2 minutes before I was supposed to start, I started. Thought I was going to choke to death. Come on in. So we're going to make it through. And then we're going to let you all get back to your celebrations, your recognitions, your holiday. All right, Auntie Julia is waving. Miss Laquita Robinson Harris is joining. Thank you for joining. Miss Wanda Harris is joining. And I think that since Auntie Julia waved back at me, you all must be able to hear me. So I'm glad that you all can hear me. Miss Runny and Beth Rudy are joining me today. Welcome. Welcome to Focus on It Friday. Mama is here today. Thank you for joining. I'm going to assume that Manju has asked to join the meeting, but I'm going to assume that that is a mistake. But if you want to join, let me know. Come on in. Miss Rudy says it was so nice to meet you the other day. You as well. Thank you for joining us today. My cousin Dearius Collie is here. Thank you for joining. If you all want to share the video, that is great. If you want to tag some people, that'll be lovely as well. I'm going to be short today just because, like I said, right before I came on, out of the blue, I started choking. And so I found some water in my husband's car, so I may have to take a sip. But we're going to get through it. We're up to 11 people now. So we'll go ahead and get started. I am Dr. Brandy B., your triple board certified pediatrician, adult psychiatrist, child and adolescent psychiatrist, ADHD expert, mommy friend, school liaison, and author of the best-selling book, Shine, Understanding ADHD So Your Child Can Be a Star. Today I want to talk to you about the many ways that ADHD can look. So I get all the time, people say to me, well, the teacher wanted me to come in, but my child doesn't do what I know that all children with ADHD do. And so I am like, well, what do they do? And they usually tell me something like, children with ADHD always are running around, always are talkative, always are loud. And so I said, oh my goodness, this is a great opportunity to do one of the things that I love to do, which is to educate people. And so I'm going to share some of those tips with you today. So first, let's go back. And I know we've done this before, but we're going to talk about what exactly ADHD is. So remember, ADHD is a neurologic, behavioral, and a biologic disorder in which children and adults have symptoms related to problems focusing, problems maintaining control of their impulses, and problems with ability to not be hyperactive. So there are 3 types of ADHD. Remember, there is no longer ADD as a diagnosis. It is all ADHD. And you can have either the predominantly inattentive presentation, the predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, or you can have the combined type. I think I need my inhaler, and I left the house without it. I need my inhaler. So predominantly inattentive presentation, predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, or the combined presentation. Now, what are the symptoms of each? The symptoms of inattention are going to be losing things, forgetting things, being easily distracted, procrastinating, rushing, making careless mistakes, not addressing others when they address you, also being easily distracted, and just not paying attention in general, as the name implies, inattentive. Now, your hyperactive, impulsive symptoms are going to include being loud, being talkative, being loud, being talkative, blurting, always on the go, not staying seated, fidgeting, not completing tasks, acting as if driven by a motor. And so that is what most people think about when they think about ADHD. Now, why does ADHD look different in some people and not in others? Well, it's just like any other disease. For example, one person may be anemic, and they may be so anemic that, for example, their eyes, where it should be white, it's yellow. But other people may pass out. Like if you remember, I shared with you last year, I did, because I was anemic. And still some other people don't have anything to happen to them at all because they have adjusted to their state of anemia. Now, when we're talking about little small kids, right? So your kindergartners and younger, and then your first graders and your second graders. What are they going to look like? Most times they are going to be hyperactive. The teacher and the daycare worker will complain that they cannot stay seated, that they're blurting, that they're talking too much, that they're all over the place, and that they are disruptive to the class. So that's what you're going to hear mostly with your younger children, kindergarten, first and second grade and younger. Now, with your third graders, something happens developmentally. Developmentally, by third grade, you're no longer just hyperactive and all over the place. You can stay in your seat and be seated, but still your brain is always on the go. So what that means is that these children are set up to, first of all, get missed, because teachers are used to kids being hyperactive. So this child is not hyperactive anymore. They can sit in their seat. But what you may find is that they're still drumming with pencils. They may not be moving, but they may be humming. And they may be kicking their legs and doing things like that, but they stay in their seat. They may adjust several times in the seat, but they stay in the seat. What's also happening is their brains are going, as I said. And so something happens academically in about the third grade, in that the education goes from learning to read to reading to learn. And that sounds alike, but if you think about it, it's a very drastic difference. Learning to read means that you simply call out words. And if you get the word right, if you pronounce it right, if you say it right, and heaven forbid if you can just recognize it on sight, we get really excited. However, by third grade, you're now having to take the words that you can recognize, can read, can say, and you're having to add meaning to them. Usually, in a test, you're having to tell your teacher what it is that you just read. And so if your brain is constantly moving, you may not have even paid attention to the words that you were calling. And you certainly don't remember them, because remember, forgetfulness is a part of ADHD. And so when the teacher says, yay, see Jane run, you got that right. Now tell me, how was Jane moving? You have no idea what to answer her, because you weren't really paying attention. You were just calling words. This is why third grade is such a critical year for a child with ADHD, because many of them will fail this year. And even if they don't fail, they will have academic challenges. Even the kids who maintain their honor roll status and don't actually fail, if you go back and think about it and look at it, you will find that they had some challenges. And so keeping that honor roll status was a little bit more difficult in third grade than it had been in prior years. In particular, you're going to notice that with girls. If I go back and I ask girls, what were you in trouble for in third grade? Maybe not enough trouble to go to the principal's office, but your teacher was always having to call your name. What was it for? In 3rd grade, she's going to say talking too much. So this child may be in their seat. They may not be moving. They may be humming and tapping. And for sure, they're going to be talking. Now, why does this not get flagged? Because girls are just talkers, right? Wrong. Oftentimes, girls are just talkers. But if a girl has ADHD, it would take someone paying very keen attention to all of the other symptoms that go with ADHD to show us that indeed she may have something more than just being a chatty Cathy going on. So, young kids, hyperactive. Then about 3rd grade, inattention is the big problem. Because remember, there has to be something that makes you come in. Nobody comes to see me for just a checkup like they do their primary doctors. So there has to be something that makes a person come in. The very young children, it's hyperactivity. In the 3rd grade, inattention becomes a problem because that's when grades typically are going to become a problem. Now, a child can go on for 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade again. Oh my goodness, in 5th grade, we're going to have problems again. Now, I started noticing that each odd numbered year was particularly difficult for my patients. So I reached out to some of my colleagues who are educators and I said, hey, what's going on? Why are the odd number years so much more difficult? And this is what they told me. They told me that odd number years are when new material is introduced. And so in the even number years, you're just building upon what it is that you learned the year before. And this was kind of driven home when I was in my 2nd graders class. My own child is in 2nd grade. And his teacher said at open house. Now, remember guys, we're not learning a whole lot new this year. We're just going deeper into what we learned last year. And so I thought, oh my goodness, this is true. So your child may do well in 4th grade, but by 5th grade, there'll be another problem. They may do well in 6th grade, but in 7th grade, there could be another problem. Now, we've gone from hyperactivity in the very young, then we shift to inattention being a big problem. Grades, okay? Somewhere between 7th and 9th grade, another part of ADHD becomes a big problem. And that is the impulsivity. Hello there, Miss Luella. And to everybody else who has come in, thank you. I was just telling them, just before I went live, I started a coughing fit. So I'm not dying over here. It just came up all of a sudden. But very young, hyperactive, 3rd grade, inattention, and now by 7th to 9th grade and even older, we have impulsivity to learn about. Now, I have not seen her come today, but we have a friend of Dr. Brandy B and Focus on a Friday who comes usually every week. One week she told us that her son, who I think is 11th, so 6th grade, this year he wanted to stop his medications. And so she, being a very good mother, said, okay, we will try it. Y'all, we have Focus on a Friday at noon. I think by Monday or maybe even that same day, she had reached out to me and said, it ain't gonna work. Because what she had decided, based off the grades that came on that day, was that he was not doing well at all, right? So that didn't really go with the next phase of it, but I just wanted to throw it out there to you that, well, it does. Because in this 6th, 7th, 8th grade season, this is when a lot of kids will want to stop medicine. Yes, sinus drainage just came all of a sudden. A lot of kids will want to stop their medications. But this is a very critical time when we're talking about impulsivity. Because what's happening developmentally is this. You, as a very good parent, are realizing that you can't keep that child under you 100% of the time and raise a child that is developmentally and mentally and psychologically healthy. Children need to be able to make decisions. I mean, they need to be in some safe situations to do them. So when you allow your child in 7th grade, 8th grade to go to their friend's house, you think you know what the parents are like. You've checked, you've done your due diligence. You found out the parents are going to be there. They're going to be watching them. But every once in a while, one of the children who comes over might not have the same type of upbringing that you would hope for your child. And so they offer your child something. And now we've got to hope that they have enough control of their impulses to not act on whatever is being offered to them, right? And so this is the same child that told you, I don't want to go see that doctor anymore. I'm not crazy. Nothing is wrong with me. I'm tired of taking medicine. I can focus without the medicine. I don't need the medicine. The kids are laughing at me and you give in. But developmentally, you're allowing them some freedoms. And so then when they go to this friend's house and something is being offered to them, they forget and they do something impulsively that now could potentially lead to a very long time, if not a lifetime, of things that they're trying to make up for. So here you are with this 7th grader trying to figure out, how do we end up here? And the truth of the matter is that it could have started potentially because they stopped their medicine. Now, the impulsivity goes over into high school. Driving fast, not paying attention to speed limits, not paying attention to signals, forgetting to put a signal on, and there sits Granny because they forgot to look as well. Okay, now they run Granny off the road. Now we got a situation. They're driving fast, they hit a tree, they total a car. They forget that they don't know how to swim. So your child and several other children go to the lake. Everybody's child comes home but yours. And so people are searching for your child for days. And we know what that means, what that leads to. Also, I mentioned drugs, but also sex. And also, of course, the grades as well, right? So all of this can happen because of ADHD. Now, I'm dealing with a situation now, and I always, whenever I look at the news and I see a killing or something senseless, and I'm not talking about, drug related where they left home and planned to do something. I'm talking about something like, it just went left, as we say. Somebody stepped on somebody's shoe and the next thing we know, somebody's dead. And I actually am now dealing with something very similar to that, where I can trace back the situation that they're in now, trace it back to them just being careless, not being on their medicine, stopped it in 6th, 7th grade, everything I described. And now this child is facing some pretty serious charges. And so parents are like, dang, we wish we had. And so the reason that I come over here every Friday, whether I'm coughing up a storm or whether I'm not feeling good or whatever, I try to make it because I really do want you all to understand that ADHD is not just something to help kids who want to be smart get ahead. It's not just something to make kids sit down and stop moving so that parents can do whatever they need to, although that is important, right? Children can get hurt. Children get injured. Children believe they can fly. And that might be age appropriate. But then when they jump off of something without thinking, now you've got a situation where you're finding yourself in the emergency room. So ADHD is a very big deal. And what happens is kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade, remember, really hyper. 3rd, 4th, 5th grades and on, inattention is going to happen. And then when you get to late middle school, 9th grade, the impulsivity can be a problem. Now, keep in mind, you can have impulsivity in the young kids. You can have inattention in the older kids. I'm just letting you know what usually brings people into me. Some other things that usually cause people to come into me. 7th graders, especially girls, but 7th graders whose parents say all they do is stay in their room, close the door, and isolate. They don't want to come out. I think they're depressed. So I get a lot of 7th graders coming in for depression. But if you think about it, if you are a smart kid, you've always made honor roll, and here you are now in 7th grade for the first time getting a C. And no matter what you do to study, you just can't seem to get ahead. So you're always making grades less than what you think you should and you know you can do. Eventually that's going to work on your ego, your self-esteem, and yes, you're going to be sad. So sometimes when we do the history, what I discover is that, yeah, your child might be sad, but it may be due to ADHD or it may be in addition to ADHD. The other grade is 9th grade. Grades drop in 9th grade again because it is 9th grade is going to be an odd number year, so those grades are going to go down. But also keep in mind, nobody comes to see me in 9th grade for declining grades because everybody assumes that it is just being in high school and making the adjustment. And then 11th grade. 11th grade kids coming to me with frank anxiety. They are so anxious that their parents swear they have an anxiety disorder. And so then again, when we get to discussing things and doing history and asking about what were you like in 3rd grade, oh my God, I was always in trouble for talking and staying out of my seat. Talking and staying out of my seat. Okay? And so in 11th grade, when kids come in for anxiety, what we uncover is, yes, anxiety is there, but is it anxiety and ADHD or ADHD that is causing anxiety? And here's how that can happen. You're studying for a test. You're studying. You know it. You've taught everybody in your class the information. The teacher knows she could call on you at any moment because you're going to know the answer. But when you take the test, you make a 44, a 67, a 78. But you know that you're a 98 material. And so now the next time that you're studying, not only are you thinking about that 78, but when you're taking the test, you're thinking about it. And so some people may even say you got test taking anxiety. Well, of course you do, because you're worried about it. But this is what I want you to hold on to. ADHD is inconsistently inconsistent, which means that your child may know the spelling words Monday night, Tuesday morning, Wednesday night, and all day Thursday, and they may not know them any of the other times that I did not mention, including Friday morning when the test is given. Likewise, if you get distracted while the test is given, the bird chirps, somebody sneezes, somebody coughs, somebody drops a pen, somebody comes in to see your teacher, then you get distracted, you look away, you keep looking away, you don't even realize you're looking away, and the next thing you know, the teacher says you have 5 minutes left, and now you have a situation. So that is what anxiety looks like in those 11th graders. The other thing about 11th grade is that, what are you doing? You know your senior year is coming up, and remember, these are the smart kids. Now, the kids who may not have been labeled as smart, they have concerns too. They may not have as much pressure on them from themselves and the outside world to take the ACT, to get into the top-notch college, to make the grade, to be the valedictorian. Those are not their issues. They have settled being in the middle or the lower thirds of the class, and that is just okay. They have accepted the fact that they are not going to be able to go to college, whether or not that is true. That is what they've heard, that is what they've accepted, and that is what they're going to do. Getting on, being treated for ADHD can be life-changing for those kids. Now, I said I was going to be brief. Let me go on and just tell you about adults, because ADHD does not stop in childhood. So what happens in adulthood? These bright students, they get scholarships. They can make it through the ACT limping, barely. These are untreated folks. They go to college, and after that first semester, UAB. You are back. Because we used to think, and I'm guilty, they went down there and partied. They went over there and partied. They went up there and partied. I didn't send you over there to party. I'm coming and I'm getting you home. When you get them home, you need to go somewhere and get them tested if you know you have a good student. Because there is a great difference in the volume of work, the speed that the work is assigned, and the distractions in college compared to high school and for certain middle and elementary schools. So when you combine all of that together, now you have a child who is on their own. And remember, people with ADHD are great procrastinators. You may call them lazy. You may call, okay, buzzword. Parents call them lazy. Kids say I'm not motivated. Anytime I hear unmotivated, and I don't even know if that's a proper word. Dr. Lish, is unmotivated a proper word? Will you help us, please? Dr. Lish Wills, my high school classmate, is a teacher of teachers, and she has her doctorate now. So we're going to find out if unmotivated is word. That's what the patients tell me. I don't have motivation. What the parents tell me is he's lazy as hell. He ain't got nothing wrong with him. He play that video game all day. Just want to sit with one leg cocked up on my sofa, eat all my snacks. And I don't care if it is Veterans Day. I want him at school because he's just lazy, right? So whenever I hear lazy and lack of motivation, I start thinking about ADHD. So you go to college, and moms and dads, I want you to know, 33% of kids with ADHD will drop out of high school. Don't let your kid be in that third. Other thing I want you to know is that only 5 to 10% of kids with ADHD will complete college. Y'all, 5 to 10% who complete college, that means all these happy pictures we get, and you know what I'm talking about. You've seen your friends pack those kids up, take a U-Haul down to the university, to the junior college or wherever else they're going. And guess what? You see that bed is so beautiful. They've spent $1,000 decorating that dorm room. Oh, it is amazing. And then you don't see anything else. You don't see a post. You don't hear about a graduation. You start hearing about babies, right? Because teenage pregnancy is up with people with ADHD. You start hearing about all kind of stuff. But you do not hear about them returning for a sophomore year or for a second semester of the first year. And that is because only 5 to 10% will complete college. If you have a scholarly student, do not let them do this. I'm going to tell y'all one more thing. It just gets all up under my skin when somebody says he can struggle. Why? Why would you make your child struggle? But that's just me. I'm not interested in having my children struggle. Nobody made me struggle, and I'm not going to. And if you are a mom or a dad who says, because I get this too, well, I'm sure I had it, and you probably are right? Because we know the statistics on that. If you have SHINE, understanding ADHD, so your child could be a star, we know that statistically one of the parents probably has it. But when parents say, I struggle and I did all right, I just ask one question. Did you reach your full potential? Because 9 times out of 10, you did not. You went to somebody's university too. You had high hopes of completing, and there really wasn't any reason that you couldn't, except that you couldn't focus. Had you been able to focus, you would have been the next president of the same college where you went. Who knew? Who knows? But because you didn't focus, you had to come on back home. And nothing's wrong with coming on back home. But you had your hopes set high on going to the university and finishing. Because who goes to the university thinking they're going to come back after a semester? I know I did it. I told my mom and daddy, good riddance, and I'll see y'all in 4 years. I actually saw them a little bit sooner, but that was the point. I was not coming back without a degree, and I was not coming back in any longer than 4 years. Of course, we know now that it takes kids as long as it takes them. We're really interested in them completing everything, and not necessarily in the length of time that they do it. But adults, now, what do adults look like? Because we talked about college folks. They struggle bad. And I do want you to know you can still get assistance. It's not called an IEP in college, but you can get that. So if your student is in college, please make sure that they're getting that. All right. Now, adults, because remember, ADHD doesn't go away. It does not evaporate. It does not dissipate. It hangs on forever. So adults either figure out a job that works for them and the fact that they have ADHD. For example, if you're loud and a talker, you probably do not want to explore library science as a career. You want to pick something else. But What happens in adulthood, I often see, is that parents can't stay on a job, right? Parents have 5 jobs before February is over because you missed one little mistake that in your mind was like, I just missed it. But it was great to the overall project or product, or you forgot to call in, or you forgot to leave the key and nobody else could do the job because you had the key at your house and you left to go to Atlanta. And so that's what I see in adulthood. Lots of mistakes, lots of write-ups, and losing jobs because you could nothing having nothing to do with the smarts, but just the fact that you could not complete the task, right? So it's very important that we address ADHD, that we acknowledge it, that we respect it, and most importantly, that we treat it. However it is that your child or you needs to be treated, that's the way that we should. And I always tell parents, always, remember, this is a disease where many of the parents also have it too. So we've got to get you treated so you can help them, because otherwise everybody's just screaming, flying off the handle, running late, leaving book bags, all this stuff that happens because we were not able to prepare. All right, hopefully that's been helpful. Let me go back and see who has come in. Auntie Wanda, we got Tiffany Sexton, Priscilla, Anessa, Miss Sandra Keith, Charles Andre Ball, Miss Keith says hello. Athena Dixon, Miss Keith says Joshua Bentley and I are watching. We are so glad that you are. Priscilla is at Fantastic Nails. Hello, Fantastic Nails. And Miss Anita, I won't call her by her family name because I get in trouble if I do that. Miss Sandra says, I am a disabled veteran and I want to wish all veterans a happy Veterans Day. And we appreciate you so much, Miss Sandra. I've thanked the veterans a couple of times coming on, but we must say thank you all so much, because it is because of you that we even get to be on something like Facebook talking with our own freedom. So we appreciate you and all the other veterans for doing what it is that you have done and or are doing to make us free in this country, because no matter what, y'all, this is still the greatest nation on the planet. And if you don't believe it, try going and live somewhere else. You may find that you want to come back. You may, but you may not. But it is a great place to live. Patrice, Dr. Patrice is watching. My Auntie Wanda says this is powerful information. Miss Sherry Stevens, thank you for joining. Lish Will says, yes, I have 2 college students struggling with this as well. They are not on meds anymore. Tell them, and you may not be able to, but just tell them, honey, you may want to go and get some help, because guess what? There is no valor, no honor in struggling. None. Absolutely none. People say, I was in labor for 41 days with pain 10 out of 10 and I didn't take any medicine. And I'm like, but did y'all live? Do you have a good, healthy baby? Because that's what the prize is, not the struggle. Child, I had 3 C-sections because that was what was best for me. And I don't love my babies anymore. They are no less healthy, no more healthy. We just got them here. We had to get that baby here and move on with life. And so your struggle, I mean, let's give you a cookie. Not to diminish the women that wanted to do that. That is absolutely your choice. But it is also not to say that anybody who did it any other way, like there is nothing exciting to me when we're talking about ADHD about the struggle. It's not. Because when you're struggling, you want to give up. You do. You want to give up. And you will give up. And then you'll live the rest of your life saying, I wonder what if, I wish. And I don't have a whole lot of regrets about things I didn't do. But I know for a fact that it's probably not a good feeling to always live the rest of your life wondering and wishing. Patrice says, I miss where the first grade drops were, 3rd grade. Janetta is watching. Hello, Miss Shanti Hardiman. Hello, Kimberly Nash, Michael Neighbors. M. Bibb says, I feel exposed. This is the complete truth. Yes, ma'am, those adults have it. Those college students have it. We got to get everybody educated so that they can do better. Miss Ronnie Rudy says, thank you so much for the wonderful information. It helps me understand my 11th grade grandson's ADHD so much. Yes, I get an 11th grader at least, I get an 11th grader at least once a week. Most weeks I get 2 to 3, right? Many of those weeks is 2 to 3 11th graders who have already, a lot of them have already had a diagnosis and stopped because somebody told them you don't have it anymore. But what actually happens is many of those 11th graders have never, ever been diagnosed. And then they meet me and they're like, where have you been all of my life? And I'm like, child, I don't know, but I wish I had been here. Right. Auntie Julia is thanking Miss Sandra Keith for her service. Brandy is watching. Miss Sandra is returning the thanks. I just love it over here. Marilyn Metcalf is watching. Miss Michelle Scott Shorts. She says, hello, everyone. Hello back to you. Miss Janetta is giving out thanks for our American soldiers. Mr. Mike Neighbors says, hi. Hi, Mr. Mike Neighbors. Pray your cough gets better, Dr. Brandy. Thank you. It seems like it already has. Look at that. All we need to do is come talk to our friends at Focus on It Friday. Miss Michelle Scott Short says, my husband and my only child, DJ, turns 19 years old today. We are so proud of him. Happy birthday to both of them from Dr. Brandy B and the Focus on It Friday friends. Thank you all so very much. Mama says good information as always, and we appreciate Mama for watching always and supporting. And then Dr. Lish Will says, absolutely, yes, absolutely. We got to get those babies back on their meds. Are there any other questions? Any other questions, guys? All right, if there are no other questions, please go back, watch a video, tell a friend. That is the biggest compliment, when you tell your friends to watch Focus on It Friday, to follow me. If you're like, oh my goodness, this was really good information, but I don't want to go and watch all ththese videos, I want to just have this written, I would love for you to have it written. You can get your copy of Shine at www.shineadhdbook.shop. Shineadhdbook.shop. All right, remember, there is no ADD, it's only ADHD, and either predominantly an attentive type, predominantly hyperactive impulsive type, or combined type. Again, special thank you to all of our soldiers, past and present. Thank you all for doing what it is that you do. We really appreciate you. We have no concept of how much we appreciate you, but as best as we can do, we want to say thank you for all that it is that you do. You make life great for us, and you put your lives on the line so that we can live our lives freely. And that is something that we really are appreciative for you doing. I don't know that I could do a pull-up, so I wouldn't have made it, but we appreciate the people who said, I'm going to figure out how to do one. And I just stay back here and make sure that folks are educated and can focus and can make sure they give you some thanks. I just play my role, because it takes everybody. Everybody has to play their role. Whatever it is that you do or did, we all have to play our role, and we certainly want our soldiers to know we appreciate them for the role they played. Miss Rudy says, who does an adult need to see if they have ADHD? Very good question. So, Miss Rudy, unfortunately, so I would say for anyone, child or adult, start with your primary care provider. Hopefully they are someone who understands, believes in, and is well versed in ADHD, what it is, and how to treat it, and so they can get you started on some medicine. And then if not, you have to search out somebody like me. I am looking forward to, sometime at the beginning of the new year, expanding my private practice. So we'll be taking on adults. College students I particularly love to treat. I love my babies, but the college students are a group that I really want to get my hands on, because it is really do or die for them, and their ability to stay in school and complete the task. And I know they can do it. You don't get into college these days without having the credentials to be able to finish it. So we need to make sure that they have what they need. So start with your PCP, and then from there, you may have to find yourself a psychiatrist. Preferably you want one who understands ADHD, knows those buzzwords like I know them, and can readily get you treated, because it's super easy to treat. And we really just need to be working on removing the stigma so that people can get the treatment that they need and deserve. All right. Miss Keith says, thank you. I'm proud I served. Absolutely. And Miss Rudy says, thank you as well. All right. If there is nothing else, guys, I want you all to go ahead and enjoy your day. It's a little bit cloudy here in Birmingham, but I hope that you all are able to enjoy your day wherever it is that you are. Thank you all for, again, being the best part of Dr. Brandy B. Make sure that you're masking up. The flu is out here. It is crazy. I still wear my mask when I am out. You may see me on pictures smiling and whatnot, cheek to cheek with folks. But believe me, when I'm not taking that picture, honey, I have my mask on because I don't want to catch whatever it is. Because remember, y'all remember when I was, if the people that have really been following me back in 2020 in October, when I was coughing every week and I didn't know why, I got diagnosed with asthma. And so that was a scary feeling, y'all. I've treated asthma as a pediatrician. I've seen my own children with it, but there's nothing like knowing where you're going to get your next breath from. And so I don't want to do that again. That was very scary for me, so I protect my airway. Let's see. Lish Will says, thank you. Thank you. And I need to get with you. I need to come and see y'all down there. Michelle Scott Shore says, I get my college age child. How do I get my college age child appointment with you? So if you all are interested in that service, go ahead and send me an email at drbrandy@drbrandyb.com. That's Dr. Brandy at drbrandyb.com. DRBRANDI at DRBRANDIB.com. Jeremy Sherry Brown is watching. Thank you. And my sister Priscilla says, thank you for all you do. Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you all so much. Priscilla works with the veterans, so she helps keep them straight. So we appreciate her and all the people at the VA for doing what it is that they do. All right, I'm going to get out of here. You all have a great day. I'll see you all next week. Make sure that you stay safe today in whatever way that you will be celebrating. And make sure that you genuinely thank a veteran when you see them, because our life would not be as it is without them doing what they do. So until next time, I am Dr. Brandy B, your triple board certified pediatrician, adult psychiatrist, and child and adolescent psychiatrist, your ADHD expert, the best-selling author of the book Shine Understanding ADHD so your child can be a star, your consult with your school, your liaison for your schools. I am all things mommy, and guess what? I'm getting ready for Mommy's Time Out. If you didn't come to Mommy's Time Out last year, you do not want to miss it. So start saving your coins, get your money together, go ahead and tell people that you want money so you can come to Mommy's Time Out. Maybe you even want a ticket, but we're going to do it again this year, and I'm looking at January. After the holidays are over, we're going to kick back and enjoy some mommy time. I'm grateful for my wonderful husband for his services, Ms. Shorts, and we appreciate him as well. Thank you again to all the soldiers. And if there is nothing else, we will see each other next week. Be safe. Dr. Brandy B loves you all, and I appreciate you all, because after all, you are the best part of Dr. Brandy B. So I will see you all next week. Have a good one. Bye.